Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of Lumberjack the Monster, a Japanese thriller from 2023 that was directed by Takashi Miike. It's an adaptation of a novel. Now the following plot synopsis was taken from the Japan Times. A masked serial killer gets more than they bargained for when they target high-flying lawyer Akira Ninomiya, played by Kazuya Kamenashi. The attorney may look like a soulless bloodsucker in an expensive suit, but get this, he's actually a murderous psychopath himself. I'm gonna kill that freak, Akira vows, after first encountering his axe-wielding antagonist in a parking lot. He means it, too. We've already seen him dispatch a car crash victim with a piece of broken glass, unleashing a geyser of blood that signals the schlock credentials of Takashi Miike's Lumberjack the Monster. So this movie, let's just start here with the review. This movie's greatest strength is how it sets everything up, and there's a lot going on here. The premise, in and of itself, is very neat. You know, our main character is an evil serial killer who has been targeted by another serial killer who cannot be immediately identified because he wears a weird mask over his face. So we follow our protagonist murderer as he tracks down this other dude. And he needs to do it fast because the cops are investigating a series of killings connected to this guy. So we have this kind of dueling investigation dilemma going on. You got our protagonist who's trying to track this guy down, and you got a cops trying to track this guy down. So it's pretty cool. There are a handful of plot developments that are interesting because you're not sure how they will resolve during the second half of the film. And I will not spoil the specifics, but I will say that something happens that forces our protagonist murderer to kind of reassess his immoral existence. And it's handled quite differently from most films because his evil ways are portrayed as being more preferable when compared to the good guy life, and I kind of liked that element. And then we get the side characters, which add some additional intrigue. We have the protagonist's doctor friend, I guess you could call him, played by Shota Somatani, who many people are familiar with if you've seen a lot of modern Japanese films. And this doctor actually assists our protagonist in his serial killing acts. So they're like a team. And then we get a lady cop, played by Nanao, who is quite intelligent and proficient at her job, and always nice to see smart detectives in movies like this. And then we have actor Kiyohiko Shibukawa, who has appeared in a number of Toshiaki Toyoda's films, and he shows up here as another cop who has like a vengeful streak about him. So you have these different like chess pieces in place, and you're kind of wondering, how this is all going to go down. And I did think that the supporting cast of characters brings some liveliness to the proceedings when the main people aren't there. Now, early on, the story is pretty fast-paced and complex, so you need to pay attention to what's going on. Very engaging and exciting because of the dueling investigation theme that I mentioned. Now, there are a few attack scenes by the masked villain, and those are pretty good attacks. And he'll just like fly out of nowhere and attack somebody. Now, Lumberjack the Monster, I think, has a high-quality feel and vibe to it. Performances are very good. The script writing is solid. And it's very easy to get into this movie and become, wrapped up in it. But that does bring me to a few of its flaws. And I would compare this movie to that Sakura Ando film that came out recently, Badlands. And if you've seen that one or seen my review of that one, you'll know what I'm talking about here. That was a high-quality movie, a lot like this. And that movie did a good job of creating anticipation and excitement, but it was less impressive at providing a release or a payoff for the build-up in that film. And I mentioned in my review of that one, like, you start getting a little antsy and a little bit impatient at times as a viewer because you kind of want to see things like ramp up and crescendo. And in a similar fashion, Lumberjack the Monster does have a slowdown in pacing during parts of the second half of the film. And there are really no like thriller set pieces that I would consider as like big highlights of the movie. It's more of like a low-key conclusion involving, verbal confrontations between characters. Now, yes, we do get a final fight that's pretty good. But the final act of this movie is less exciting than the rest of the film that came before it. And that's my primary criticism that I have with this. But I will say that despite that, I do recommend Lumberjack the Monster. It's a good quality thriller that fans of this director should probably watch. But again, as I say, you're going to get kind of excited when you get like 2/3 of the way through the movie. You're like, oh man, what is Miike going to go nuts with the final act of this movie? You're going to have to be patient and understand that the final act is a little bit less, I guess, crazy than you would expect. I'll just leave it at that. But I do enjoy this film, and it's a good flick from the director. It's currently available on Netflix. Let me know what you think of this one. And as always, folks, and I'll see you next time.